had a client ask me the other day, how can I be so successful in some areas of my life and have absolutely no tools to make true intimacy work? And the answer is simple, my friends: super traits. I didn't learn what we were going to talk about today as a coach. I didn't learn it as a doctor. I learned it in my own body. I was good at sex. I was good at understanding. And by good at sex, I mean never having complaints from partners and could orgasm from penetration. So I thought that that's what being good at sex meant. I was good at understanding. I was good at gathering information, reading books about relationships to help fix my sexless marriage. I was great at regulating the emotional temperature of my relationship. And I thought that centering my partner's needs and desires was what made you good at being in partnership. I ended up in a sexless marriage anyway, because my super traits made me the CEO of intimacy, the manager, the planner, the one doing the emotional and the invisible labor. And I got tired of it and I saw a way out. And then I thought the answer is being with another overfunctioner instead of healing the parts of me that believed I was only worthy of love based on what I gave and what I provided. I really needed to heal my super traits and learn to become a receiver. Because when you think your worth is based on what you give, and you know this because somebody else's disappointment guts you, when the thought of stopping overfunctioning, it gives you a panic attack. You can't. The thought of not over-explaining or not doing the emotional management for your partner also sends you into a tailspin. And you know you're managing his emotions and walking on eggshells because he probably withdraws love if he doesn't get the reaction that he wants. Most of my clients, their partners will go cold and not talk to them for days. And then they are doing the repair work for two. I want to give you a clear distinction today. I'm Dr. Jordan Wiggins, naturopathic doctor, author, coercive control clinician, and dominatrix trained pleasure strategist. If you are listening, you're the fixer, the doer, the anchor, the emotional glue. And these are not flaws, they are super traits. The qualities that make you exceptional, reliable, successful. They're also the traits that slowly erode your health and your intimate relationships. You are stuck overgiving to relationships, friendships, careers that are not giving back. And eventually, your body says enough. As a naturopathic doctor, I work with women with super traits that want optimal health. As a pleasure strategist, I help to treat what labs can't measure, and I teach women with super traits the pleasure-centered method. I teach them how to go from being high achievers to receivers using the pleasure-centered method. For women with super traits, there are two very different modes of intimacy. The performing intimacy, which is super women with unhealed super traits, what they default to, and pleasure-centered receiver intimacy, which is what I teach inside my work. And I'm going to give you a quick somatic practice that I use with my clients, not to fix anything, not to heal your relationship, but to simply show you the weight of what you are carrying when you're stuck in performing intimacy. Performing intimacy, or people pleaser intimacy, or superwoman intimacy, which is what we were all taught. It's the only script we are given. So we should let go of the shame. And when we go to therapy, this is reinforced, right? Therapy is centered around empathy. It's patriarchal constructs. They've been educated in a patriarchal system, and so was I with my degrees. And unless our therapists have done the work, the coercive control work, the domestic violence work, and this is not just one continuing education credit, they will not adequately be able to help you in your relationship when there's a massive power dynamic. So the superwoman intimacy, the performing intimacy, is driven by people pleasing and fear of abandonment. It is driven by deeply rooted patriarchal expectations and gender roles. And this is where we are taught to manage men's emotions and do the emotional labor of a relationship. And women with super traits, we just do this without thinking. It's natural. And then before we know it, the intimacy is destroyed because we are the manager, the CEO, and they feel infantile. They're calling us controlling, too much, but the power dynamic's off because we are doing too much. And then we have receiver intimacy, pleasure-centered intimacy. And this is driven by presence. And it is the skill of staying present with high sensation. My sensation, the other person's sensation, without managing it. And that is the key of all relationships. It's also the foundation of Tantra and BDSM teachings. So one, the performative intimacy, it looks like connection on the outside. And you see this on Instagram all the time, on family vacations, the smiling partners. And I had this. I was doing some work with some very heavy hitters in the coaching industry, and I was recently separated at the time. And I don't know if it was an intentional shaming or if I felt shame because I hadn't healed my thoughts of failure. And that's a lot of reason why super women stay in relationships, because we have that hard work super trait. We think if I just work hard enough, I can fix this. I can get it back to the way that it was, which is part of the problem. We will get to that. Anyways, I was told that those in attendance at the event had like the 3 strongest marriages of all time, and 2 are divorced now. And I celebrate divorce when it is done in sovereignty and it is done in service of people's pleasure. The flex is not staying in an unhappy, extractive marriage anymore. And we see this by the rising divorce rate, the rising number of women filing for divorce, the number of young women that feel like marriage is not in their future because they're looking at us and thinking, no fucking way, bro. And do we blame them? Because they don't have a script. They don't have a pleasure-centered script. They don't have a receiver script. That's not what they were modeled. They were modeled women who self-sacrificed, did all of the emotional labor, were stressed out, unfulfilled, performing love, and they're thinking, no, thank you. It's not for me. So we have the performative intimacy that we see on social all the time. And it doesn't matter if people were fighting, if there was abuse, if there is managing of addiction, which I see so commonly in superwoman relationships. And we are so good. We are so high functioning, so tolerant that a lot of therapists aren't seeing it. And the advice out there doesn't work for us. So one is performative. The other is about actual true connection because it teaches you how to give and receive love without earning it. And that is the key shift that those with super traits have to make. So let's talk about performing intimacy, and then we're going to talk about receiver intimacy. So what it looks like for you now and what it needs to look like if you want that healthy, fulfilling relationship. And is it going to be rainbows and butterflies all the time? Of course not. But it is going to be a hell of a lot more fulfilling than the crumbs that you are getting now. And this is whether you are dating or married for decades. Performing intimacy looks like this. Our attention is outward. It is on other people. We are always taking the temperature of the room. And when I ask my clients about how she feels, what she wants, what she desires, she doesn't know because our attention is out. We are constantly monitoring and hypervigilant about how the moment is going. We are tracking. How are they going to take this? How is this going to land? We are replaying things that we said. We're managing the emotional tone. I should probably have sex or he'll be annoyed. Okay, we're keeping things easy, fine, good. We are the ones putting in the effort, doing the programs, reading the books, fixing ourselves while our partners do not do the personal development work. I hear my clients say things like, oh, I don't want it to be a thing, or I understand why he's doing that or why he's reacting that way. And we make excuses for his trauma or we make excuses for his neurodivergence while we are only having sex for our partners because we would rather read. Or I have clients whose partners have so significantly weaponized sex that the only place they're present is during sex, which is another patriarchal construct. So my partner craves the closeness and the intimacy, and it seems like she has the higher drive, but really what's going on is a power dynamic. And if you want me to pull out those power dynamics so you can see so clearly what is going on, you can book a super trait audit with me. The details are in the show notes. Performing intimacy looks like tracking someone else's stress level before you even speak or say your needs or ask for help, sensing when to bring something up, when to swallow it, aka walking on eggshells, translating your desire into something palatable. And I remember doing this a lot. If I wanted to do something for my business or do a new initiative, I would, and I wasn't supported or believed in, it would send my partner into a spiral. So I ended up hiding things. And then once they were successful, talking about it, but that's not intimacy. And I was trying to manage his feelings. And why was I with somebody that wasn't supportive of me, especially with my stellar super trait track record? When we are preemptively soothing their discomfort, making their feelings more important than our own, staying calm so we're not told we're too much or told our standards are too high. Okay, this is not intimacy. This is emotional labor inside a sexual and relational container. And I want to say this clearly. There is nothing erotic about being responsible for someone else's comfort, unless the mommy dom thing is for you, that having a baby or having somebody infantile is arousing and turns you on. And if it does, amazing. You do you. But for the women that I work with, they want a partner, but they don't have it. They're putting in the effort while somebody else lays back. And sometimes their partners want to step up, but we have been so hypervigilant and controlling in order to stay safe because of our super traits that our partner's like, you know what? I'm just going to let her do it. And we throw off the dynamic that way. It becomes a power dynamic issue. It becomes a nervous system state issue. Okay? Our desire didn't leave. Our ability to connect isn't gone. It is just thrown off by the hypervigilant management energy, which we think we have to do. And sometimes we do have to do it because our partner is such a significant underfunctioner. And I call this the lump of coal analogy. And this is the exact reason that separates women who work with me and actually turn it around and create beautiful lives and sex as a receiver is the fear of this. So when you are a superwoman and you have super traits, it's like you've put all of this effort and energy into turning a lump of coal into a diamond. You were the one doing the effort. You were the one doing the work. And when you have to stop putting in the effort and sit and look at your relationship for what it truly is, when you stop overgiving and over-efforting and over-emotional laboring, and you look at that lump of coal, which you have been trying for years to turn into a diamond, it's rough. We need the skills and the container and the support just to do that, because we've been taught that we have to put in the effort. But if effort would have worked, it would have worked already. So our bodies, our physiology adapts to intimacy and relationships and situations that require us to stay in control. Our pleasure centers turn off. And then what do we have on the other side? This is the receiver intimacy, okay? And receiver intimacy is not teaching you to feel safe in an unsafe environment. And I missed this part. I miss this part because I did all this work in an unsafe and abusive environment. I did a lot of this work in an unsafe and abusive environment. And then spent the last 3 years healing from that. Okay, receiver intimacy is a total ownership of your pleasure and power. Receiver intimacy is the capacity to stay with sensation as it is, as it comes up, without rescuing the moment, without emotionally managing. Okay, and this is in and out of the bedroom. It's allowing yourself to surrender and be affected, be changed. It's letting somebody see all of you, not just the edited, curated, high functioning version that you have been showing. Because if you only show the parts of yourself that you think are acceptable and lovable, that's not intimacy. Intimacy means you are present and witness to all of me. And I did not even have the faintest clue how to show those parts of myself. Okay, because I had to deal with my own shame and beliefs around it, that I had to be perfect to be loved, and I was loved based on what I gave. This is where Superwoman panic, because receiving intimacy removes that armor. It removes that wall that we have in between us. Okay, there's no performance buffer. There's no control lever. There's no guarantee that our wants and needs and desires are going to be met. And that's where our fear shows up. What if I ask and he says no? What if I text first and I'm ignored? What if I stop over functioning? What's going to happen? Am I going to be punished? Am I going to withdraw love? I'm talking about CEOs. I'm talking about people that manage massive teams. I'm talking about women that do the impossible for a living, and they're scared. They're scared their partner is going to be mad at them and not talk to them. And I ask, why are we sucking the dick of a man with the emotional intelligence of a toddler? Okay, but this requires our work. It requires us to be present with high sensation, us to have pleasure and power, the power to protect it so that our pleasure is not dependent on other people. And I missed that part. But that is what the healing, that is what the coercive control training, that is what the dominatrix training has taught me, so that I can be so precise in helping clients see these dynamics, call them out, and fix them. Performance protects you from disappointment, the disappointment that you are scared to feel. And if you want to keep protecting yourself, go on Instagram, keep saving the posts, keep sending the post to your partner that starts a fight, keep listening to podcasts, taking courses that don't actually move the needle. Receiver intimacy asks you to feel truth, the truth of your desire, the truth in your body, the truth of your feelings, including the ones that you've been overfunctioning and doing too much not to feel, not to face. And this is part of the reason why I love doing the super trait audits, because even if you want to do nothing with the information, you have clarity and you can stop wasting time and overthinking on shit that is never going to change anything. And then you can spend that time and money and energy pouring into yourself, doing things that bring you joy instead of trying to fix a dynamic that doesn't work. You've been going to sex therapy or couples therapy for 2 years? For 2 years and it didn't change anything? You think it's going to change something now? Not when you have super traits. Not when there are power and coercive dynamics going on and you are with a therapist that does not get it. Receiver archetype. Okay, so I want to talk to you about the receiver. She's selective. She knows what she wants and what she doesn't want, and she feels good sharing that. She's sovereign. Okay, she is not playing games, power dynamic games, old scripts, old gender roles that do not work for her and her turn on. She's magnetic. Because when myself and my clients, and we figure this out with our super traits, and we have authority over ourselves and our sexuality, and we are not outsourcing our happiness and our pleasure to others, it is irresistible to men. I define the receiver as a woman who can stay present without fixing, who can allow sensation without directing or controlling. She can let others be disappointed without self-abandonment. She knows and can ask for her deepest desires, and she expects them to be met. This is pleasure and power. It's not dependent on someone else's mood. It's not negotiated away. It's not accepting crumbs. Performance is our sense of control. It lets us think that we are doing something without actually doing anything. Receiving is authority. I just got a tingle. Let me be clear. This work is not for women who want tips to be better at sex so they can please their husbands or please men who are not willing to meet them. This is for women who want a new standard of pleasure-centered relationship, that we can acknowledge that, you know what, the old way isn't working anymore. And I don't care whether you're single and dating or whether you're in a relationship and you are done and ready to do it a different way. This work is for women who want to be deeply met in their bodies, in their relationships, in their lives. It's for the woman who says, I've done everything right. I've read the books. I listened to the podcasts, and I'm not met. I'm not as happy as I should be. If you know that working harder would have already worked and it's time for a different way, this is why I offer the super trait audit. This is a clarity session where we map how your super traits are eroding intimacy. We map your erotic shutdown patterns and the 2 steps that it would actually take you to move from high achiever to receiver. And you can head to the show notes and book an audit with me. All clarity, no pressure to do anything more. And this will be more valuable than the last 2 things that you have done to try to fix this situation. Now, as promised, I want to give you an exercise to help you feel the weight of what you are managing right now. If you're doing something, which you probably are, I want you to stop. Feel your feet on the floor. Put a hand on your body, on your chest, on your abdomen, if that feels right. Invite you to take a deep inhale and exhale without forcing, and ask yourself this question: what am I managing right now? Don't fix, don't justify, just notice. What am I managing right now? Notice your jaw, your shoulders, your pelvic floor. If your body is tight, braced, alert, take another inhale and exhale. What would happen if I stopped managing for 10 seconds? Just 10 seconds. Pause. Feel what's happening in your body. Is there panic, tightness, freedom? Do you feel lighter? And this is just for clarity. This is what your body is feeling every minute of every day when you have unhealed super traits. I invite you to take some time to journal with the following prompt: when I stop trying to manage intimacy, when I stop trying to manage relationships, I am afraid that. Write what comes up. No explaining, no backstory. You don't need to become any less of a superwoman to feel fulfilled, but you do need to be equipped with the tools that women with super traits were never taught, so you can move from performing intimacy to receiving a life, relationship, body, health that actually meets you. And that's what I help women do, is go from high achiever to receiver using the pleasure-centered method.